What is up, my dashing dudes and darling dames? I am the Hans TV, and welcome back to the subreddit that shows you just how horrible pretty much everyone is. It's r/entitled people. Our first post for today comes from Fred's Red. Karen demands her meal for free, but gets instant karma instead. This story is about my mother. Yes, she is a mega Karen. And unfortunately, I've had to put up with her for most of my life. This happened when I was a teenager, around 15. We went out for dinner at a small local restaurant that did all-you-can-eat buffets. I should mention that my mother has long, thick, and curly hair, and she never ties it up. Important for later. We got our dinner and sat down to eat, and all was going well. I was surprised at how well my mom was doing. By this point, she should have found something to complain about by now. And then, it happened. She looked down at her plate and said, "Oh my god, look at this. There's a flipping hair in my food." Me, knowing exactly what she was doing. "Mom, that's your hair." "No, that's not my hair." The way she was talking was obviously dramatized for effect, and she was beginning to get louder and drawing attention from the other diners. She continued to cause a scene and get more irritating, drawing more attention to herself and inadvertently, me. I wanted to sink into my chair from embarrassment. Not long after she started her fake tantrum, the waitress came over to see what the problem was. How's it all going here? What seems to be the problem?" "There is a hair in my food." Okay." Now she's getting furious at the lack of care from the waitress. "Well then, what are you going to do about it? We deserve to have our meals for free. This is horrible customer service." The waitress, now with a smirk across her face. "I'm sorry you're not satisfied with our food. Would you like to speak to the chef?" Looking smug that she thought she'd won, my mom says, "Yes, I would." I was confused at this point, not understanding why the waitress didn't seem to care, even though I knew my mom was lying. But it soon became clear why. A few minutes later, a man came out from the back of the store and walked right up to our table, and my mom's face went ghost white and her jaw dropped. The chef was bald. Not balding, but so bald that you could see your reflection on his shiny scalp. Hi there. How are things this evening? What seems to be the problem?" "Well, there's a hair in my food." "I'm sorry to hear that, ma'am, but unless I've miraculously grown a full head of hair on my walk over to your table, you can see that I am very much bald. And as I'm the only chef working tonight, that is clearly not my hair." His mom is silent. "Is that all for now? I need to get back to work." Without waiting for an answer, he turned and walked back to the kitchen, but not before I mouthed sorry to him as he left. I knew better than to say anything to my mom after this, but I had a smile on my face for the rest of the night. I will always love it whenever a Karen gets proven wrong. Like, "There's a hair in my food." "Well, ma'am, sorry, but I don't have any hair, so it's not possibly mine." Our next post comes from Nathan5660. A person took stuff out of my shopping basket. So this happened a few weeks ago, but I was wandering around LIDL in a post-depressive state. I wander around with a set goal on what to buy. I find stuff I like and chuck it in my basket more as a distraction than actually food shopping. I grab some sweets, crisps, and some fizzy pop. Head over to the till, and as usual, there's a big queue and one damn till open. Ugh, am I right? I get to the back of the queue just as a new till opens. Typical. So I go to the newly opened till. I'm third in the queue now, and due to social distancing, sticker things on the floor, I couldn't put my stuff on the conveyor yet. So this woman starts taking my stuff out of my basket and putting it in her basket. Miss, that stuff is mine from my basket. Can you please put it back?" "It's not yours till you pay for it." I take my stuff back, move forward, and put my stuff on the conveyor. Her is screeching like a demon that I stole her stuff. So, I stare at the till staff member blank-faced. The till staff. "Miss, please stop shouting. I saw you take the items from his basket. He simply took them back. He took nothing of yours." Why are people like this sometimes? Are they just stupid, or are they just brought up spoiled brats? The answer is yes. Our next post comes from Skittles481. Entitled teen steals thousands after my family helped him and his sister. Okay. This seems like the best place to post this story. All names are obviously changed. I'm new at this, so I won't be writing dialogue unless I remember it really well. Sorry for being so long, but there's a TLDR at the bottom. It's the second half where the interesting stuff happens. It all started around June to July of 2017, just about 3 years ago. I lived with my mom, dad, and granddad in San Diego and was 17 at the time. I had a friend named Andre who was a big pothead. He crashed on our couch every now and then, but was usually pretty cool. He asked if one of his friends and his friend's sister could use our guest room, and my mom, being the bleeding heart that she is, said yes. Enter Javier and Alexis. Javier was 16 and Alexis was 13. It was a few years ago, so I can't remember all the details, but in the beginning, they were really polite and shy, especially Alexis. We learned that they were illegal immigrants that crossed the border really young. About a year before we met them, their dad had left them to go back to Mexico. At first, they were just staying with us for a few days. That turned into a week, then a month, then multiple months. My mom just couldn't let go of such a sad story and wanted to help them. After the first few months, we learned a bit more of their personality. They were spoiled. Normally, if you took a homeless teen off the streets and into a home, they'd be grateful and respect the homeowners, right? Not so much. It was all mostly small things, but they grated on me and my dad. Alexis would throw temper tantrums and show crocodile tears if her phone was taken away. Javier was cocky and always had to be right. Honestly, I think he's narcissistic. How you could be narcissistic while homeless, I have no clue. After the first month, my granddad took them to the Navy Exchange to do some clothes shopping. He's an ex-Navy pilot. He spent a couple $100s for them to get new wardrobes, and while they did thank him, they acted in private as if it was given. It was around the 3rd to 5th month they were staying with us that my mom started filing for their citizenship. She talked to an attorney and started the ball rolling for them. She made it so they could go to school and get an education. My family basically became their legal guardians and a shield against ICE. Javier got really into biking. He joined a racing club, I think it was called Velodrome. One of the higher-ups heard his story and got really moved and donated him a new bike and biking gear. That stuff cost almost $1,000. The guy was rich. A good example of their entitlement was when my dad, Javier, Alexis, and I went to Costco to buy some stuff. There were some carts in the parking lanes, so my dad asked us to move them. "How much are you paying us?" I think it was a joke, but man did that piss us off. Now, a few days ago, the bike that the guy gave to Javier somehow broke. He asked the guy to fix it, and was told that he would when he had the time. So in the middle of Costco, Javier asked my dad if we could use his phone. He called the guy and started screaming at him, asking him where the bike was, why he didn't have it fixed yet, that he promised it would be fixed by that day. He didn't. The man gave him almost $1,000 worth of free gear. That was the first big thing. One of the major issues we had with them was marijuana. This was before it was legal, by the way. My parents and grandparents were totally against them smoking, especially in the house. There were arguments, shouting, punishments, the works. Javier got more belligerent, more rude, until we kicked him out and sent him up to some of his relatives in Bakersfield. During this, we managed to talk some sense into Alexis. She started to mouth off less and was getting good grades in high school. I know it's a shock, but she lost her entitlement. Nowadays, I actually think of her as a sister. But that's not the end of the story. Javier got caught up in some gang stuff. He didn't join. He saw something he shouldn't have. Never found out what. He got grouped up with some other guys and saw one of them get shot. He knew what was going to happen, so he escaped and ran away. Later, he called my parents, and they brought him back as he got traumatized. Now, I'm glossing over a lot of stuff and paraphrasing as I know this is getting long. It's the next part where the story gets interesting. My parents decided to build in the backyard a one-room building for Javier to live in. This happened summer of 2018. Now, through all this time, my dad and Javier were on really bad terms. Javier didn't respect my parents. He was always mouthing off, making huge arguments out of the smallest things, and it pissed my dad off to no end. He refused to be wrong. One time my mom cut the power to the living room while he was playing GTA 5. He cussed her out bad. I came in to defend her, but she just laughed it off. The next day, he threw all of our coffee mugs, about $200 worth, over the slope behind our house onto the street and sidewalk below, shattering all but a few. Man, were we pissed. But he just had this smug smirk. I almost decked him then and there. My dad is a retired painter/handyman and knew his way around construction. We built the entire building by ourselves with his direction. The only thing is, Javier thought he knew better than my dad on how to build it, and was always fighting with him on how the construction should go. The cost came out of my dad's savings and totaled a few $1,000s. It has electricity, insulation, definitely bumped up the property value a little bit. Around February 2019, my dad was checking his pistol case and found the pistol and the mags to be missing. This made him furious. Now, what you have to know is that during all this, my mom refused to think badly of Javier. She and my dad were having troubles for years now, and this was the fight that broke the camel's back. She didn't think that Javier took the gun and believed that my dad misplaced it, and refused to kick him out. They separated the next month, with my dad moving out. We never found the gun. I assume he sold it. In fall of last year, we learned from our neighbor, Will, that he stole my mom's car keys and was doing donuts in the cul-de-sac that we live in. Will is an active duty cop with 3 kids and was furious at this. He told Javier to stop and got cussed out and threatened. Fast forward to this year and he took my mom's car again in March. Only this time he was speeding and got caught by a cop. My mom had to bail him out. My dad and I were slowly convincing her that he was a bad egg. It was this past month that he went over the line. He stole the valet key to my car and emptied the third of the tank. My mom told him he needed to get a job and move out. By this point, both him and Alexis had work permits. He knew he was on the way out, so he decided to get as much out of it as he could. This part has nothing to do with Javier. My granddad's credit card got hacked somehow. He had ordered a new phone, iPhone 11, but was sent an iPhone 11 Pro and an iPhone 11 Pro Max. He didn't pay for these and filed for fraud and tried to return the phones. He didn't buy, but Amazon didn't have the orders in their system. A new card was issued but never turned up. A few days later, he found that a few $1,000s had been charged on the card. He canceled it and ordered a new one. Same thing. Javier was stealing the cards of the mail and using them himself. I have no clue how he activated them. He and his friends were going around and buying as much as they could. Hundreds at Home Depot, Walmart, splurging on food delivery. Then he stole my mom's credit card out of her purse and used that. The thing is, we couldn't prove that he did this. We searched his room when he was gone, but couldn't find anything incriminating. We were definitely kicking him out though. The final straw was that he stole the iPhone Pro Max that my granddad was trying to send back about a week ago. We knew he took it because he put his SIM card into it. My mom pays the phone bill and could search what phones were on her plan. Now, the Pro Max is over $1,000, and that's felony theft. The only thing is that he had left a few days ago and hadn't come back. We were concerned that he would sneak in during the night and take all his belongings and we'd never see the phone, so we took everything he owns and locked it in a closet. He came home today and we cornered him. My granddad told him that he had 911 already dialed and just had to press the green button unless he gave the phone back. He did. He's been locked out of the house for the past few weeks, only let in if my mom or I can supervise him. He's been told to take a bag of clothes and get out. I'll post any updates as they come. Now, what you have to understand is that my mom and granddad are too nice. I know most of the comments are going to say this. I agree. I would have kicked him out the first time he stole one of our cars. Hell, I'd have called the cops on him and let him get deported. The thing they're worried about is that they'd take Alexis as well. She really turned her life around, is trying to make something of herself, and they didn't want to risk that. I know that wouldn't happen. I personally think that was an excuse they made up in their minds so that he wouldn't get arrested earlier. Now though, my granddad wasn't kidding about calling the cops. Thank God. They got how much of a bastard he really is. If only it didn't take 3 years. He still has a bail he has to pay for getting arrested, and if he doesn't, it'll go to warrant. If that happens, I'm going to tip off the police. If he gets arrested, he'll definitely get deported. Might get a bit of revenge in. Update 1. So, we set up a camera system a few days ago, and I woke up about a half hour ago, same night as posting, to a motion detection notification. Seems he took a long metal pipe and knocked down one of the security cameras on the roof. Luckily, it's not broken, just needs to be repositioned. Lucky that he didn't make it fall off though. He also tried to mess with the doorbell camera, but couldn't manage it. It's the Ring system if anyone's interested. I really am glad that one of them turned out to be good. But Javier, he is just a prick. He needs to be deported or in jail or something, because there is no saving him. With how he is, there is no saving him. Well, alright, my dashing dudes and darling dames, that is going to do it for today's episode of r/Entitled People. I hope you liked the stories, and if you did, I'm going to link them in the description as always. And if you liked the video, subscribe, share, drop a like, and a comment down below which you'd like to see me read next. But with that being said, I will see you in the next video.